Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, welcome to Transformation Tuesday over at Loving Me Before I Love You. Y'all know we do this every episode. It's, who we are. We have been talking about being CEO and being an entrepreneur and managing our lives from a business perspective as well as personally for the past couple of weeks. And today is no different. Today we're talking about wearing multiple hats. How do you balance roles and responsibilities? I always incorporate self-love because that is what we are here to talk about as a whole. And so when we think about, I am trying to be a boss, I may be trying to be a mom, I may be trying to be somebody's friend, I may be trying to be somebody's girlfriend, husband, wife, all of the significant other statuses, I may be trying to, just simply be additional roles outside of my work and family life, etc. How do you always maintain you in the process of all of the other hats that you wear? We're going to talk about it. We're going to get it deep. I do have a guest with me. Her name is Saleena, and she is here to let's dive deeper, right? She's here for that. We're super excited that she joined us. And I'm going to welcome her to the show. And I want y'all to give her a warm welcome to the social. How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Tammy. I am extremely grateful to be here, not only to speak with you, but to just speak to any topic around self-love.
Yes. So self-love is a big thing for me. I think that it is a staple that is becoming more prominent now because we were talking about how you can kind of tell you're not loving yourself by the way that you treat yourself and by the way you allow others to treat you. But I think self-love exists in every area of our lives and not just on the personal relationship side. I think a lot of people focus so much on how it affects relationships. And I look at how it affects every area. And today is no different. I mean, there are a lot of entrepreneurs being born. And when I say born, not just like, oh my God, they were born yesterday, but born in reference to the fact that they're starting new businesses, like they're creating new lives for themselves. Ever since the pandemic, people have started their own thing. It's very difficult people are saying it's difficult to find jobs. I think it's difficult to find corporate jobs, but not just a regular job. Because you can go places and everybody needs help. And it's like help wanted signs posted all over the place. But they are what we consider possibly like low jobs that will not sustain someone's lifestyle. So therefore, no one's going for them anymore. It's like everybody's like, man, I'm creating my own company. Like, I don't care what they did that. I'm going to do it too, and social media and TikTok and stuff like that has allowed people to see that there is a way to make a lot of money without going to somebody's 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. But are they maintaining themselves in the process? So that is the big question. Are they maintaining themselves in the process? So when you think, like, what has been the biggest challenge in managing multiple roles in your own life?
Wow. What a loaded question, right? Because inherently with managing multiple roles, there's already challenges because I have to pay attention to and pour water and energy into multiple things. So there's a balancing act happening already. And I think that is probably the first challenge is how do I balance and manage multiple things and myself? on top of, what we already have to manage, as you mentioned, with all of the relationships that we have. If you're a mother, or in my case, a wife or a sibling, someone who's on different teams or a part of different coalitions, you're managing all of that. And then you want to start your own business as well. And I know for people like myself, it was seeking job security, actually. In such a fickle market, there's not really as much job security working at somebody's 9 to 5 either anymore. We're seeing mass layoffs and people being released from positions that they held for many years and were very comfortable in. So people are also looking for that. And that was kind of my entrance into it. And so I was adding on a new project on top of a 9 to 5 and on top of other positions that I was already playing in the community. And that balance piece is huge. Not only balancing the multiple projects that I have going on at any time, but also managing the projects that I'm already working on with a new idea that I have, or, a new collaboration that I want to get into.
Yeah, I think a lot of times today you have to do 50 things at once in order to even feel, I don't even want to say secure, but just to feel sufficient. You know what I mean? It's like, because the way the economy is set up at the moment, because how people have yo-yoed the job market, it's like, wait a minute, one thing is not enough. If you're only doing one, that means you're that one thing close to homelessness. You're that one thing, it's like, and if you're working a 9 to 5 with it, that means that basically that person has full control of your whole life with one statement of you're fired. You know what I mean? Or your job's eliminated, or unfortunately, you're no longer a viable asset to our company and we are letting you go. Like, you're just that one piece away. And I think when we learn that we need more, then it pulls from us, right? It's like, man, I got to do so much more, but when do I do something for me? I was feeling like I wasn't doing enough for me before I even had to do more. So now where do I fit? And I'm just a firm believer, and you can kind of like chime in on your thoughts regarding this, but like, I'm a firm believer that when you put you first, the rest kind of follows. It's like, if you don't put yourself first, then you do feel drained and pulled in multiple directions. But if you put yourself first, understand who the heck you are, understand what your capacity is, then you will only put on you what you can handle. You won't just be grasping at straws because it's like, oh, I just need in order to actually live. You're going to say, oh, no, this is what I can handle. This is what I can do. Yes. And then these are the things that will help me live like in a land of everything, right? In the land of fruitfulness, in the land of multiple supply, because I know who I am and what I can handle versus me doing something to see if I can handle it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. That's what I found. Self-love brings everything else with it, because before I was moving with self-love, it wasn't that I didn't love myself, right? I absolutely loved myself. But was I moving with self-love? Was I making decisions with intentionality with self-love? No. And when I made that shift, and it may have been in some places a slight shift, in some areas more drastic, but when that shift was made, I wasn't moving with desperation anymore. It wasn't, oh, I have to do this because I have to get this money and I have to do this. It was like, what would pour into me? What could I do that would make me happy, where I'm having a reciprocal relationship? I might have to have this 9 to 5 over here to make sure that I'm able to, meet my baseline. But anything else that I'm going to be doing will come from a place of joy. And that's a decision of self-love and intention that I wasn't moving with before. It makes a big difference, and it leads you down a different path.
Absolutely. And even with the 9 to 5s, you can actually move with intention and self-love.
Well,
Like I think a lot, we get 9 to 5s out of desperation, and sometimes we get them because it's where our path and our purpose actually, lead us. But when you have self-love and you're in a 9 to 5, you still should be able to have healthy boundaries with that workplace. You should be able to, you know, have a voice, advocate for yourself. Don't just be a doormat and let them walk all over you because you work for them. You work for you first. And that's where that self-love piece comes from. It's like, you know what? No, you can't talk to me crazy. You know what I mean? And no, I'm not staying beyond X, Y, and Z because this is my capacity. My capacity is what I agreed to in the sign on. And I said, I'm working from 9 to 5. I'm not giving you no more.
Yeah.
No. And if my capacity doesn't stretch to give you an extra hour, unfortunately, I can't help you. Now, I can incorporate in this 9 to 5 how to give you the results you need for the project that you want to work. Yes, I can do everything I can in my ability for this 9 to 5, but I'm not giving you nothing past 5 or before 9. And I think that's a self-love piece too, because it's like, I'm not going to bend backwards for you if I'm not bending backwards for me.
Right. And that's that reciprocity, right? Because you got to think about those boundaries. Your job, they have real clear and strict boundaries with you. They will not be paying you beyond what they agreed to pay you. They're not going to pay you more than they've agreed to pay you, right? So have those same boundaries. I absolutely agree. A 9 to 5, it's gonna serve the purpose that you want it to serve, whatever that purpose is, but move with self-love, move with intentionality in that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with telling a job, this is the agreement we've made and I'm gonna honor that agreement, right?
Yeah.
Because that's moving in honesty and integrity in yourself.
Correct. And it moves from a space of you matter, right? It moves from a space of I made the decision to take this position based upon it aligning with who I am and what I needed in my life. I didn't take it for you to manipulate it on the backside once I said yes. You know what I mean? And being able to see the manipulation of things on the front end and say, no, this doesn't align with me. And when you find something that doesn't align with you, if you have to go looking for something different, do that. Do it. You know what I mean? But that's because you're putting yourself first, right? But I think like when we talk about having so many hats on or so many different responsibilities and how we should also be a responsibility, how we should also be a hat and a role, it's like, do I do it first? Do I do it last? Do I do it in the middle? Of course, my answer is first. Because again, if you don't do it first, you're really pulling for straws. You're really pulling to see how much can I handle versus knowing what you can handle and moving accordingly. Like, why would I get a cup if I'm following instruction that says you need to put 4 cups, 4 3/4 cups of water in this particular bowl, right? Why would I grab a cup that has no measurement lines on it whatsoever? And I'm just going to pour water. And I'm like, oh, I think this is what it is. I think this is 4 cups. I think this is 4 3/4. And I'm just letting this water pour. And then I'm like, I'm going to pour this into this bowl haphazardly because I don't really know. And then I pour the water and it overflows. And it overflows because it was more than what I was supposed to be putting in, but I also didn't have the actual measuring item on the cup that I am pouring into to know if I had reached capacity.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing with your life. When you take on so many roles, so many responsibilities, it's like, hey, you can only handle one 9 to 5, one entrepreneurial activity or project, one family relationship, and your 2 kids. That's it. That's all you can handle. Like that's your capacity. but you don't know that, and you go do 1 9 to 5, 3 entrepreneurial projects because they look simple and easy to take on. Your 2 kids, like you out of capacity, and you wondering why you burnt out, why you don't have no time for you, why you barely have time for those kids, barely have time for the relationship you got. And your function is, but I gotta make the money, but I gotta pull the money in, but I gotta do this. Figure out your capacity first.
Yeah, I see it. I see it out there all the time. I've experienced it, and it's tied to that sustainability part. Like, we want to do all the things. We want to get to that point where we have whatever it is that we're working towards. Whole time, have we checked in with our body? Have we eaten today? Are we drinking water? I used to be at a point where I didn't know what hungry felt like. I only know what starving felt like. I only know what it felt like to have a headache, to have my hands shaking, to be nauseous. I didn't know what it just felt like to be normal hungry because I was never tapped in with my body. I had to really pay attention to be like, wait, is this hunger? Is this hunger? And then, like, now I'm like, yeah, I know what that little first inkling feels like because I'm checking in with my body. I'm present in where I am. And sometimes when we get to chasing these things and always being so focused on where we want to be instead of where we are, we're not present in our body. We've left ourselves behind. And we over here in 5 years from now, when we have the thing that we want and are working towards, and all the bills are paid, and whatever else, all the needs are met. And so it's absolutely, for me, like, we have to check in. That self-love piece has to go throughout for me. It has to be woven in for sustainability. What does my daily practice look like now? I say certain affirmations to myself every day before I get out of the bed because I used to wake up angry and I didn't want to wake up angry anymore. So I had to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to get out of bed angry. And so I took my power where I could, and now I don't wake up angry anymore. I wake up and songs pop into my head, poems pop into my head when I wake up. I wake up happy, but it took me some time to get there. And it took me realizing first that I wasn't clocked into my body and I wasn't being present with myself.
Yeah, that's really good because you don't really think about the health part, right? And then you said something about reaching like what you really wanted, being successful, like obtaining that thing. The saddest thing is to do all of this work to obtain a thing, not care enough about yourself because you're running yourself, like your body, into the ground during the process. You reach it and then pass away 2 months later and never actually enjoyed it. So it's like you did all of that work, you put all of that weight on your shoulders, you just drained yourself, got it, but because you weren't tapped in to who you are and your needs, left with no enjoyment.
Yeah.
That is catastrophic. And to me, if you don't want to be in that space, you got to put you first. You got to, like you say, tap in, figure out what do you need. You know what I mean? I think I always go back to recipes and things of that nature because it's like if you got the recipe, you can make the dish multiple times, right? You can make it multiple times. Without a recipe and winging it, will it turn out the same every time? No. Will it be some bad? Yes, because you put too much of something or not enough of something. Or, because there's a thing saying, we talk about too much. There is a thing of not enough. You're doing not enough and you should be doing more. You're not pushing yourself to the limit that you're supposed to because your capacity is larger than what you think. But if you just had your capacity, which is your recipe for your own life, like what can you handle? And if you think about exercise, today, if I'm going to the gym for the first time, I can't handle the Stairmaster for 45 minutes. I can only probably give it 5. And if I'm being honest and truthful with myself, probably more like 3. You know what I mean? Without me feeling like, oh no, Let me get up out of here. But you gotta know that, right? So, okay, you started 2 or 3 minutes for that Stairmaster today, but the more you exercise and the more you go and continue to build your stamina, that capacity for that same machine that you started out at 2 or 3 minutes has moved to 15. So capacities change. They grow bigger, they shrink, they do all kind of things. But knowing it is over half the battle. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know what it is, it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like you gotta know what it is. So I 100% agree with you. Like you have to tap in. You gotta tap in.
Yeah. For me, self-love and self-knowledge are completely tied. Like you have to know who you are to love who you are. And again, we get tied up and caught up in chasing the things that we want or trying to survive or what have you, that we don't know who we are. We don't check in with ourselves. We don't know what makes us happy. We don't know what makes us mad. We just know that we mad all the time, you know? So um, it's about checking in with yourself and getting to know you for sure.
Wow, today's episode is a good one. I know you're enjoying it, and we'll get back to it shortly. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that Tammy would love for you to share any questions, comments, or topic ideas you have with her. All you have to do is send them to her in an email to podcast@IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
Yeah, when you talk about feelings, it's always feelings the pet peeve of mine. Like it's a pet peeve of mine because I feel like we're so ignorant to it. And people are like, wait, what? Yes. We don't understand feelings as a whole, like just as a group of people. And, we tend to minimize feelings to things like adjectives of good, well, okay, not good, then the short ones, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm frustrated. Those seem to be the ones we can actually verbalize what they are because they're the negative feelings or the overwhelming feelings of like, but nobody talks about the joys. Nobody talks about, the happiness. No one talks about feeling fulfilled, feeling, productive, feeling like what real feelings like really are. Like we just seem to be very surface, right? We don't get taught real feelings outside of pain, right? A lot of, I think about it like just growing up, like, I can't really recall being asked or being taught the different feelings outside of being in somebody's doctor's office. And it's like, are you feeling good, feeling bad? And it's got the happy face and then the angry face. And it's like, this is like the only spectrum of emotion. It's like, that's not true. It's not true. And I think we should really teach emotion. Feelings are about ourselves. They're about our inner compass, right? It's like how you feel about something should give you regulatory, like how I'm going to regulate my response. But most of us have a lot of reaction. It's like we react to this, that, and the third. But you're not supposed to be reacting to feelings. You're supposed to be responding to them. And it's supposed to help you regulate your own inner being. But we've not taught about feelings like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I did so-and-so because I was mad.
Yeah. No, that's real. The first time I ever saw the emotions wheel, I think I may have been in my 20s. And now I use it in my workshops and my programming because seeing how many more emotions there are on that wheel than the ones that we are taught to talk about or articulate in any way on the daily is amazing. There's so many emotions that are rooted in others where we're just talking about, the mad or the angry. But we're not talking about the ashamed or the guilty
Guilt.
or, you know, some of those more complex emotions, grief,
Yeah.
you know, some of
Yeah.
those emotions that are might be at the root of the anger or the sadness that we're feeling.
Man, so true. How can people communicate their needs and set boundaries without guilt, though?
Mm. I think that one, for me, I like to bring it to it being my responsibility. You know, we all have our responsibilities. And for me, my responsibility is to show up in community as the best version of myself that I can.
Mhm.
And the way that I can show up in the best way that I can in community is to make sure I'm honoring my boundaries, because those make sure I'm showing up cool, calm, collected, open to receiving love, you know, able to give love, to hold space. Um, and I think that's how we can do it. You know, if someone's boundaries do not align with my boundaries, I don't need to label them as a bad person. I don't need to dislike that person. I don't need to now be in conflict with them because our boundaries don't go together.
Right.
It's just that our boundaries don't mesh, and that's okay.
Yeah. And never feel guilty about expressing your own needs. Like, they're yours. Just
Hmm.
like your feelings are yours. And I know a lot of times, like I always tell people, if someone tells you that your feelings are invalid, that's a red flag because they're your feelings. They
Hmm.
belong to you. Um, Learning how to communicate what your feelings are is a healthy thing, but the healthier thing is learning how to respond to them versus react, right? But at
Hmm.
the same time, you got to be able to express your needs without feeling guilty about it. Like, I'm not going to feel guilty for telling you how I need you to address me or talk to me. If you
Right.
can't accept it, that means that we're not in alignment to be in direct relationship. And if we're in a relationship that's like, what I say, forced, in other words, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's, like someone can't per se get out of having this connection because it's just there, then it's like, hey, I'm going to address and deal with you in the capacity that's required. But you're not gonna make me feel guilty about what I need.
Hmm. Yes. I think that's a really good point to make. I also like to make a point about when it comes to boundaries, meeting people where they are also can fall within your boundaries. So if
Mhm.
you have, say, for example, family members, because this is usually where this comes up, right?
Oh,
We all have family members who, you know, we ain't not exactly aligned with them, but they family, right? So we're not going to cut them out of our lives, but we're probably not going to hang out with them every day either. We might see them on holidays. And when that happens, we meet them where they're at, meaning we know who this person is, we know how they act, we know how they be, and I'm going to deal with you to that capacity, to the capacity that I can deal with you with all that knowledge. If that just means I say hello and I stay on the other side of the room from you, then that's the capacity that I'm going to deal with you. But that's me meeting you where you at and letting you be exactly who you are. And I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to try to force you to do anything else, but I'm going to keep myself a safe distance from you.
mhm. So that made me have a question about no contact. That is a new thing that has been happening more often
Mm,
lately, with family members, going no contact with parents, going no contact, with siblings. What are
mhm.
your thoughts on that? I know it's not person to talk, our topic, but you
Yeah.
just kind of mentioned it. It's like, I
Mhm.
want to know.
Yeah, I'm actually a believer in limited or no contact with family members. It depends on where you are in your journey and where they are in their journey. For me, there's people in my family who I hope that we will have a closer relationship one day, but I know that the relationship that I want is not possible right now. And not just me being realistic. You know, I'm an adult. I get it. But I can still have hope. I can still have positive, emotions about it. I don't need to be like, "Oh, those people are bad and I'm mad at them because I can't have the relationship with them that I want." It's okay. I'm living a
Yeah.
happy life. I'm living a good life, as is my responsibility to make sure that I do so, that I'm living the best life that I can and not just letting life happen to me, but building the life that I'm living and making sure that it's one where I'm happy and fulfilled, and hoping that everyone that I love is doing the same.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the pressures of being everything to everyone?
Ooh, I had to leave that one behind. I really did on my self love journey. I had to leave it behind because you can't do that. You can't be everything to everybody. And so to even have that as a goal or expectation for myself led me to burnout, led me to resentment in my relationships, led me to relationships that I wasn't satisfied in, where I felt like I was just giving so much and receiving so little, but I was still giving. Sometimes I'd give even more just to see. Maybe they didn't notice the amount I was giving before, so let me up the giving to no, none of that is going to work. None of that is going
Yeah.
to lead to where I was trying to get. Look, I ain't trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just saying that did not work for me, and so I do
Yeah.
not prescribe to that.
It's the number one sign that I when I coach, if that phrase comes up in any assessment thing that I do with people, I immediately say, "Oh, yeah, you don't love yourself, and you're performing and not you like actually living the life."
Mm,
Because if you feel the need to perform for other people for their acceptance, that means you don't accept or love you, and you're looking for the validation from them. At 100%, it is
yeah.
no, because being everything for everyone and nothing to yourself is it's like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 100%. So when I see that, hear that, it's my immediate thoughts. Oh, anxious attachment, abandonment issues, like all those things immediately flood the gates because it's like, wait a minute, you're performing for them. You're saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. I can do this, I can be your everything. I can da, 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 da. And that's what makes me an amazing person because I'm everything for you and nothing for myself. And then that's how you are manipulated and mistreated. And, you're wondering, like, why are so many people leaving? And they're leaving you because you left yourself.
Mm, yeah. That's that tough realization, because and this can happen in business too. So I really do want people to like hear this, right? Because when you're in the business world, these relationships are partnerships, they're sponsors, they're collaborators, they're customers, they're participants, right? Because you have to be able to manage multiple relationships to grow and scale your businesses. Or even if you just have one business, if you're focusing on
Yeah.
one venture. Myself, I'm an entrepreneur, so I have my hand in a few pockets and a few pots. But you have to be able to navigate these relationships in a way that honors yourself and honors the other person, agency, organization that you are working with. And people
Yeah.
can tell when you're moving in business in this way where you're trying to be everything to them too. It'll come out, not can, it will. It will come out in business as well. And some folks might, want to take advantage of that, as Tammy has said. They might see that and their eyes light up and they're like, oh, yep, let's do this business partnership where I benefit completely while you do all the work.
Yeah.
And other folks might just see that and, back up a little bit, retreat and say, let's take
Yeah.
this, pick our partnership or collaboration or what have you somewhere else. So it is something that you have to be mindful of because, again, whatever you're doing in your personal relationships, whatever energy you're bringing, whatever methods you move with, the level of integrity you have, it transfers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think when you talk business, a lot of times when we are being everything for everybody, even in that capacity, it's always, I just need them to like me so that they can come. I just need them to, it's the marketing piece. It's the,
Mm.
let me show them I can do X, Y, and Z. And so we try to master multiple things versus, what they say, the jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
We end up being in that space too, right? Because it's like I'm so busy trying to get you just to like whatever I'm doing, just like it, like it, like it, pick me, pick me, pick me. And I think it shows more when you, it's gonna go back to the self-love perspective, when you love you enough to believe in you and build a level of confidence in you, even in business, who's for you is for you. It is going to,
Yeah.
you're going to align and attract what you need for what you have going on. You're not going to have to beg a person to attach themselves to you. So if you don't hear nothing else in trying to do multiple hacks about different things and sound like you matter. You're really the forefront of this of the whole situation.
Period. Yeah.
When they say period, cool.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
really matters.
really like claiming that space in the forefront of your own life comes or demands really a level of trust in yourself that oftentimes you'll find maybe wasn't put into you by other people. Maybe you have to discover that for yourself. Maybe you plant that seed in yourself and you tend to it intentionally, but you can do that. And you do show up differently in space when you trust yourself to be in the right place, right? I remember when I first started networking for my business, there's a lot of places that you can network. There's a lot of networking events. There's a lot of different kind of networking events. But when it came to curating what networking events I went to, what kind of networking events, right? Because I have a healing business. And so, whatever kind of business you have, whatever kind of person you're trying to be, you have to curate the spaces that you show up to in to be those spaces. The people that you share energy with, share ideas with, they should be the kind of people who are in alignment with what you're saying you want, right? Because then you know you're walking in alignment with what you say you want, and you're not out of alignment with yourself. Then you're building that trust with yourself.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Alignment is the way. Like a lot of times people just think you're supposed to just pop an idea out of your head, go gun ho for it, and you're like, why this is not working? And it's like, are you supposed to be doing it? Like, you
Right.
saw somebody else do it, but are you supposed to be doing it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's like that do it all method, right? Like, just do it all, do whatever you want, just do it all. Don't worry about it, just do it. And it's like, yeah, you should worry about it. No, don't just do it. Do what's in alignment with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
now, if you got 5 things in alignment with you, yeah, do all of those things. But if you're just
Hmm.
doing it all because somebody else did it, I don't know if that's what you want to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's just my thought. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell them you agree or disagree. But I don't know. I don't see doing it all as what's that? A goal without
Yeah.
a line. What's one actionable tip you would give the listeners to start balancing their roles? If they have to do it today, they're like, I'm out of whack. I'm out of balance. I got too much going on. I'm feeling burnt out. I don't really know how to handle all of the roles and responsibilities I have on my plate. What would you say?
I would say get it out of your head and onto paper. I think a lot of times we have a lot going on, and it's, again, not just the ideas, the projects or businesses that we have, but we have a lot going on in life. And sometimes that can make our heads feel like they're spinning, like there's just so much information, so many thoughts that we're always thinking at the same time and balancing. And I find that writing things down in lists, whether it's short and long-term goals, whether it's this is what I want to accomplish professionally, personally, for my household, this, just get it onto paper and then you can see it. And I find that visualizing really helps just calm everything down. It can help you focus in. That way you're able to really organize everything, right? It's not just a web of madness in your mind anymore. Now it's organized thoughts. You can start moving things around. Maybe you start to put stuff on that little timeline. If you start to feel jazzy, it just gives you a place to start other than I'm overwhelmed.
I 100% agree. Overwhelmed list is a very, it's a contagious space, right? Like you get overwhelmed for one thing. It's like you too overwhelmed to do anything. It's like you just get in a rut and get stuck. But I agree with you. Having a list, having a way to kind of like see the things that need to be accomplished versus having it all in your mind. Like, oh, I kind of know I need to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to forget some things. You're going to like put stuff in the wrong spot. The priority of one thing is, it gets a little all over the place. So I 100% agree with that. Tell people where they can find you if they want to learn how to heal, how to get back to who they want to be as they are like trying to say, you know what, this is too much. Like I need to breathe just a little bit.
Yes. Well, you can find me on social media at the Hot Girls Healing Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. I have workshops. You can find me and more information about those workshops on my social media pages. You can also find the Hot Girls Healing Podcast on all podcast streaming platforms. So that's where you'll find me.
Well, Saleena, thank you so much for joining me. This was actually a great conversation because we do need to know how to handle all our roles and responsibilities, but learning that the first role and the first responsibility that we should be handling is our own, us. We're number one. We're the first responsibility to actually adhere to. You guys always remember, love yourself so much that love from others is a bonus. Don't forget, if you want to join the coaching program, Reclaim Your Power, hit me at coach@IamTammyNicole.com. It has been a pleasure, and I will catch you guys next Tuesday. Have a great day.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.